I just finished watching A Quiet Place as I prep myself to go see the third one. I was frazzled. I was tense. My stomach dropped. It was good. I liked it. I keep wanting to be frustrated with the characters. I'm like, are Evelyn and Lee bad parents? Why did y'all get pregnant at this time? But at every point that I want to be frustrated, like, it's like letting air out of a balloon, like my frustration disappears. Because it's like, they're in the apocalypse, it's the end of the world. They have gotten used to it. They have contingency plans. They have break glass type plans for if shit hits the fan. Kids will be kids. You know what I mean? Like there's a sense of normalcy that has like come over them as they live life in this new world with these aliens. So it's like I want to fault them for some of the stuff that happens, but I don't really. I feel like everything that happens is pretty understandable, right? Kids will be kids. There's normalcy in a way. So that's why you got Regan going off by herself to go visit her brother's grave. I thought she was running away. Regan is my favorite character. So John Krasinski, I read, said that the main theme is, the fears of parenthood. Nothing happened that made me care about that theme. Not even them losing their child. The grief theme, though, I'm very interested in. Like I said, Regan is my favorite character. I don't remember if I said that, but Regan is my favorite character. And so I love the grief that hung over the entire family, but especially her. She sold the hell out of her sadness. So you had grief making Lee closed off. You had grief making Evelyn feel guilty because she says she could have carried him and she could have carried him. When they turned and left the store and left the two kids behind, I understand Regan is the oldest, but I'm like, it's like what, 81 days, 89 days into this new world? Why are you turning your back on your? Have them walk in front or in the middle. There's two of you. But had Evelyn feeling guilty, it had both Lee and Evelyn ignoring Regan. They ignored Regan. There is a suspicious lack of interaction between Regan and Evelyn, but I'm not gonna stay on that. But I like it was just very like an obvious lack of interaction between the two of them. But they ignored Regan because the reason I say that is that it's been a year since Bo died. And a year later, you know that she was the one who gave him the toy and the batteries. And a year later, she still thinks you hate her. And even Marcus did that actor did a great job selling the fear. Like I was with him every time. But like even Marcus had questions for Lee. Like, do you blame her? Do you love her? I feel like there's no excuse for that to still be the case a year later. They were ignoring Regan. I took in the 4-year-old did what 4-year-olds do, which is prioritize their happiness and their curiosity over what you told them not to do. I took Regan wanting to go with her father to hunt, to whatever, learn survival skills. I took that as her wanting to protect Marcus so that if something happened, she would be the one at risk and Marcus would be safe at home. She couldn't protect one brother, she wanted to protect this one. Like I felt her pain and her, I guess, I don't know, like not exasperation, but her devastation when the implant didn't work because it's like, a that was kind of like her last connection to Bo because she used to be able to hear him via the implant, and now presumably she'll never be able to hear again. But she also used to hear the world, and now presumably she'll never be able to hear again, as far as she knows. And she's been made so much more vulnerable, and she's been isolated. Furthermore, she's already isolated from her parents, who don't give, who are ignoring her, and now she can't. She has to see the monsters coming because she doesn't have the advantage of hearing anymore and hasn't for a long time. Lee told Regan to never go in the basement, and for whatever reason, this was very tense. Only for us to get to the end and find out that it was the same basement where he was like trying to figure out answers and trying to like build her an implant. That was cheap. That was cheap to me. It had no emotional resonance whatsoever. The most emotional part of the movie for me were the labor scenes. From the moment Evelyn stepped on that nail and I gasped, to when she let those labor pains out through the scream, those were the most like emotional scenes of the movie for me. You know, when Lee gets killed and is signing "I love you, I've always loved you," that was cringe because of how slow he was doing it. Like, you sign as a way of life. Why are you doing it so slowly? I figured Lee would die because I watched this on Prime Video. And so I see when I typed in A Quiet Place, I saw A Quiet Place Part 2, and I noticed that it was only Evelyn. Once A Quiet Place started, I remembered it was only Evelyn. So like maybe 10 minutes in, I was like, oh, he's gonna die. But also, when Evelyn was telling Marcus, like, you need to go learn so that you can protect me when I'm old and gray, and I was like, what about Marcus? I feel like these people did make noises a few times that should have had the monsters, you know, running for them. Like when Marcus was running through the cornfield and he was like rubbing against the leaves. I'm like, why didn't that summon them? I'm looking forward to the second movie to see what Evelyn is made of because there's a traditional element to this movie. There's a tradition, like she was very much homemaker. She was giving me Lori Grimes. Just like when she told Lee, like, promise me, she was like, who are we if we can't protect them? I'm like, we. What have you been doing? And she goes, promise me you'll protect them. I swear to God, when they showed Lee's face, I could see his vulnerability like sinking further down because he has this responsibility on him to protect the family. He's not in a real partnership with Evelyn as far as that concerned. She's just here to teach them ABCs, and she didn't really pick up anything until he bit it. Then she showed us she can shoot a shotgun. So I'm looking forward to see what she does in the second one now that she's the one responsible for the three kids. But I enjoyed it. I give it a 4 out of 5.